What's up, guys, and welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. And hopefully you guys are seeing this video on a Friday, which means it's Food Hack Friday. Now, last time we did some dessert and booze hacks, and I shared with you guys 2 kinds of sangria and then some really yummy cookies. Those stuffed cookies, oh, they were so good. And then we had our little salt and sugar mishap. So I'm trying to come back from that this time. And this time we're working out of the food hack book. So it's 2 separate books. One is that dessert and booze, and then this one is just the amazing food hacks. And this time it's all pasta hacks. So we're gonna do 4 different recipes. So we have a ravioli that we're gonna make right now. It's a from frozen ravioli bake. So we're gonna make that. And then we're gonna make a 1-pot spaghetti, which sounds really good. I've never done it like that before, so I'm really curious on giving that a try. You put like chicken broth and your tomato sauce in a pot and bring it to a boil, and then add your spaghetti and let your spaghetti cook in that. And then it gets really flavorful because everything absorbs. Instead of the water being absorbed in the pasta, it absorbs like the sauce and broth, which sounds really delicious. So we're gonna try that. And then we're going to try, what was the other one? Oh, carbonara in a mug. Like making just a small little batch, like a 1-person batch of carbonara in a mug in the microwave. So that sounds kind of different. And then we're also going to do, I don't know what it is. It's supposed to be a snack. It's like a bow tie, a crispy macaroni bow tie. I don't know. We got a bunch of fun stuff that we're gonna make in the kitchen today, and I'm just gonna use it for meal prep throughout the week. And we're gonna start off with the ravioli because that takes an hour in the oven. All right, you guys, hopefully it is not too dark. I have my lights being put in behind me over the island, and so we have part of the electric off in the kitchen. So hopefully you guys can see this, but this is the first recipe that we're going to do, and this is the one that I told you is kind of like a lasagna bake almost, using ravioli. So this says easy, no boil ravioli lasagna. It says this is one of those recipes that is supremely lazy yet doesn't taste lazy at all. Switch it up by adding seasonal veggies to the marinara sauce or trying some adventurous ravioli fillings like lobster or something. Well, I just got basic cheese ravioli, and it does call for a pound of ground beef and salt and pepper because it wants you to make some ground beef and season it with salt and pepper in a pan first because it wants you to layer it with meat. But it's also asking for a basic jar of marinara sauce, and you can see how thick my sauce is, but that's because it's filled with meat. So I didn't want to add any other meat to this because my meat sauce is literally 50% meat anyways, so I left that out. No ground beef and no salt and pepper for me, but if you guys want to take a screenshot of that recipe to try it exactly at home, then that's for you. So all that we're going to need then is, I think it calls for, yeah, just 1.5 pounds of a frozen ravioli. This is a 3-pound bag, so I'm not even going to use it all, and it calls to be made in just a 9x9. And we're going to spray it with some olive oil, and then we need some pasta sauce. I have more right there in the pot if we need it, and then just some shredded mozzarella. So all we're gonna do is layer it. So I'm gonna set the camera up and I'll just run some music while I layer this guy up, and you guys can just watch along. All right, you guys, so I sprayed the bottom and the sides, and then it tells you to put 1/4 cup of your pasta sauce down on the bottom. And then now we're gonna go ahead and layer this ravioli on top of that sauce. Watch out for rain, these are falling down. Make sure, you guys, that your ravioli is frozen. It specifically calls for your ravioli to not be thawed. That makes it so hard because it doesn't want to give. It's all stuck together. Carolers are singing outside our door. Lovely songs we all heard before. As they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas. So a layer of that ravioli went down, and then now you're going to put another layer of sauce. You're going to top with a layer of cheese, and then we're just going to repeat that until the pan is full.
chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Played it with me under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day.
All right, you guys, so we are completely layered, and we're gonna cover it with foil. And I sprayed the foil on the inside with that non-stick cooking spray also, just so that it does not stick to the cheese, which always happens to me whenever I do any kind of lasagna or baked ziti or something. So I've never done what she just said to do before. So if that works, that's a nice little hack, because I've never done that and the cheese always sticks, and that's super smart. So now I have the oven set for 400 degrees. We're gonna put this in for 1 hour, and then after the hour, we'll take the foil off and we'll put it back in for 10 minutes for the cheese to get like brown and bubbly. All right, guys, so it worked, but it didn't kind of work. Ah, don't steal the cheese yet. I gotta show them. Get your hands off my cheese, guy. So here's the cheese that stuck to the inside of the tinfoil. Not a lot, not as much as normal, but still some stickage. But now this goes back in for 10 minutes, and I'm gonna put it on broil, I think. Does it say to broil? No, it says to only bake it again. I don't know. I'll stick it back in for a few minutes. If it doesn't get brown, we'll turn it on the broil setting. But I just want to get the cheese a little bit more bubbly. Excuse my children in the background who have the TV on like 1700. But all right, let's put this back in to get bubbly. All right, you guys, so here's what this looks like, all toasted up. Jake already stole a piece. Like, that's my 16-and-a-half-year-old growing boy. Like, he took almost a third of a 9x9, but that's what he ate, and he said it was really, really good. I haven't tasted it yet. I just stuffed a fork in there so that I can give it a bite, but I want it to cool a little bit more, and I'll take a bite once I get this started. So now we're on to our next one, and this one is called a one-pot spaghetti. So this says, my least favorite part of making pasta is the whole colander draining debacle. Getting all of the little pasta bits out of the mesh is one of my first world problem pet peeves. This is also the best spaghetti ever. So the point is to put your broth and your water and your sauce into a pot, bring it to a boil, and then add your spaghetti and cook your spaghetti right in there, and then it's ready to serve because it's already sauced and ready to go. So I've never done that before, but I'm super curious. It actually sounds quite flavorful, the idea of the noodles cooking inside of there. So we actually don't need this whole pound since I just made that, and I'm also gonna make 2 other pasta dishes. So I'm only gonna make half a pound of this, so I'm just gonna cut their entire recipe in half. So it calls for a half a cup of water, 1 can of chicken or vegetable broth, 1 26-ounce jar of spaghetti sauce, and then 1 16-ounce pack of noodles. So I have a 1/4 cup of water. I'm only gonna use a 8-ounce cup instead of a 16-ounce cup of the chicken broth. I cut the sauce and I put 13 ounces of sauce in the bowl, and then I'm only going to use 8 ounces of the pasta. So I'm going to go ahead and load all the stuff into the pot, and when it comes to a boil, we'll add the spaghetti. I don't know, you guys, that does not look like enough fluid. I don't know, maybe they mean 1 can of chicken broth and they mean a whole 32-ounce container. So maybe I'm supposed to put in 16 ounces. I don't know. I'm going to watch the pasta as it boils, and I'll add more chicken broth as I need it, but I'm going to let that boil and then we'll get our pasta in. All right, you guys, I had to add some more broth to it, but it actually stinking worked. It made spaghetti in 1 pot. Like, who the heck knew? And I tasted it, and it is really, really good. I mean, it still tastes like my sauce, but it also has that really like a creamy flavor almost, I guess, being infused by the chicken broth, and you taste the sauce all the way through. Like, I don't taste pasta at all. I just taste sauce. So I think it's because like the noodles were cooked in it. I don't know. This is, I gotta be honest, I will do this again and again, especially for like a quick half pot for the kids. Like, I have their bowls out already. They're looking to have some. So this was, I don't know, this, you guys, was a good hack. All right, you guys, so next up we're gonna try a carbonara in a mug. And I think this is pretty cool because it says maybe you live in a dorm room or an efficiency with no stove. It's just if you want to make something quick and you just want to use a microwave, or you just want to do like a one person kind of meal. So I like the concept of this. So it wants us to start off by taking a half a cup of pasta and putting it into a large mug with a half a cup of water. And you're going to stick it in 2-minute intervals into the microwave until all of the water is absorbed and the pasta is cooked through. And then you add an egg. You can add some white wine, that's optional. I do have some white wine in the fridge, but I want to try it without it since it's an option, just in case you don't have it. Like, I want to see how it would come out without it. So you're going to add in an egg, some bacon bits, some Parmesan cheese, some olive oil, some salt and pepper, and some red pepper flakes, and that kind of completes the whole thing. So we're going to start off by putting that half a cup of pasta into this cup with the water into the microwave and try and get it cooked to where it's tender. Alright, so inside of here is that half a cup of pasta and then the half a cup of water. Now it says that expect it for it to overflow unless you're using an oversized mug or bowl. These Rae Dunn mugs are pretty big in comparison to an average size mug, so we shouldn't have overflow, but let's give it a shot. We're going to start off by putting it in for 2 minutes and then we're going to stir. Alright, so we did 2 minutes. I'm giving it a stir. There was overflow and it did spill out of the mug onto the plate of the microwave. So even these big tall mugs are still gonna cause that. So now let's put it back in for another 2 minutes. That's funny, you guys, it's gonna fog up the lens. So since, haha, there's nothing I can do, I'm so sorry. Alright, so it definitely is cooked through. It's just a little bit under al dente. But we have to add in the egg now and the bacon bits and the Parmesan cheese and stick it back in the microwave. So I don't want to cook it that much more. So let's add the other ingredients and then we'll stick it back in the microwave. All right, guys, so in goes the bacon bits. In goes the egg, which kind of weirds me out that you're just supposed to drop an egg in like that. And then in goes 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. Now it doesn't say to stir again. It's, oh yes it does, stir in 1 teaspoon. So that makes me feel a little bit better with that cracked egg. So let's stir in the bacon, the cheese, the Parmesan, the egg. And then this says to microwave for another 1 to 2 minutes. So I think I'm gonna do 1.5 minutes just to make it even. And then we're gonna add some olive oil, red pepper flakes, salt and pepper, and we should be good to go. All right, you guys, so that's what it looks like inside of the cup. All right, you guys, so that's what it looks like inside of the cup. So you got your bacon pieces and it almost looks like scrambled egg in there, and your pasta is nice and tender. So now we're gonna go ahead and add a teaspoon of olive oil, a dash of some red pepper flakes, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and another stir. Alright, so that's what we're left with in the cup when we're done. So it probably filled about half of this mug, which is decent size for like a, you know, pasta in a mug kind of thing. I'm curious to see how this tastes. I feel like it's a lot of egg for the amount of pasta. And carbonara normally has things like peas in it and stuff. So I'm curious to see how close this is going to taste to that actual dish, because I really love carbonara. So let's see how it tastes inside of this mug. See, like, that's a lot of egg. It's almost like scrambled eggs on your pasta. Let's see. All right, so it's good. And because it has the bacon and the Parmesan cheese, It definitely resembles that carbonara feel, but I don't know if I would remake this again. I don't like the pasta noodles in the microwave. I feel like they have a rubbery texture to them, which, you know, kind of makes sense if when you put pasta in the microwave to cook from scratch. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that cooked pasta pretty darn fast. I mean, 4 minutes with pasta in water and I had tender pasta. So that definitely is pretty quick for a microwave, but I don't know. I don't know if I like a whole meal cooked in a mug. I'll go with that one pot spaghetti instead. All right, let's set up the next one. All right, you guys, so our very last one is these fried pasta crunchies. And it says these little bow ties are such a cute dressed up alternative to chips. This is also a great way to ease up that awkward leftover pasta that isn't quite enough for a meal, but is just right for snacking. Adjust the other ingredient amounts as needed. So this wants you to make an entire pound of bow tie pasta. I don't need like that much to snack on. I just wanted to give it a try. So I think I'm only going to add 1/3 of the box and just cut this recipe down by 1/3. So it needs a pound of bow tie pasta. It says 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, juice of 1 lemon, 1/2 teaspoon of dried rosemary, 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, salt, and then pasta sauce for dipping. So I have my own sauce that we'll dip into later, but then I have the bow tie noodles. I have some lemon juice because I'm out of lemon. They all went bad. And then some olive oil, and then here's the Parm cheese. So I already have my water boiling right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw 1/3 of the pound of pasta in, and then once it's drained, we'll go ahead and do the next step. Alright, you guys, so I cooked the bow ties, but we were only supposed to cook them partial way, so I cooked them for about 7 minutes and then I drained them, and now I have some olive oil getting hot onto the stove. Now it says to use vegetable oil, but I'm preferring to use olive oil, and I'm hoping that it's not too hot, but I'm gonna go ahead and load in a thin layer of these bow ties and see if we can fry them. It wants you to put it on each side for about 1.5 minutes until it gets crunchy. You transfer it to a paper towel, and once it drip dries for a minute, then you're going to toss it with lemon juice and Parmesan cheese. Alright, you guys, here it is all cooked up, and I've probably eaten at least 10 of these things already. I can't believe how good they are. I've never had fried pasta like this. I've had like a fried ravioli, but that's breaded. And then I've also had a cinnamon twist from Taco Bell, which is actually pasta that's partially cooked and then fried, and it puffs up, and then you know, cover it with cinnamon and sugar. But I've never had it like this before. And I put the Parmesan cheese on it, and I squirted the lemon juice all over it. It tastes really, really good. I have my sauce here for us to dip it in, but it has such a nice crunch and such a nice flavor to it. I can't believe how good it is. I mean, I don't know how often I would purposely fry pasta, but for food hack purposes, you guys, this is yum. Alright, you guys, so that's it for another food hack video. I hope you guys enjoyed the pasta recipes. I have to say my favorite has got to be that one pot spaghetti. I cannot believe how good that came out all cooked in the one pot. The flavor of the chicken broth was really, really good inside of the noodles. I wasn't really a huge fan of the carbonara in a cup. I mean, I ate it because it was pasta and pasta's good, but it definitely wasn't a like favorite of mine. I probably will never make that again. But everybody loved the ravioli that was all baked like a lasagna, including Jake. And Jake doesn't like any kind of ricotta cheese. That's not his thing. So anytime I make lasagna or baked ziti, he like picks around that in the pan. So the fact that he ate the ravioli bake, I was really, really shocked. And this, you guys, I'm just, I don't know, fried pasta crunchies. Definitely some amazing food hacks come out of this book. Just things that I never ever thought I would ever try. So thank you again for sticking around with me today and hanging out and cooking all these pasta recipes. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. I love you guys all so much. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.